Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Up Your Alley. It's a podcast with two best friends. That's me. My name is Taylor Edgar, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
Hey, buddy.
It's a show where we talk about things that we have recommended to each other, and then we come back the next week and discuss them, score them between 1 and 3, depending on how much it is up our individual alleys. Right now, Jake is trailing me with 54 points to my astounding 55 points. It seems he may never overtake this lead.
Close.
Yeah, we are talking today about Jake's recommendation for me, which is the 2001 film by Hayao Miyazaki, the classic Spirited Away.
Yeah.
And my recommendation for Jake, which is the 2023 HBO documentary BS High about the Bishop Sycamore school scandal. And we'll be talking about that. But first, we got a little bit to get into. How you been, buddy?
It's been all right.
It's been good?
Yeah, no complaints over here.
I got to say, I've been playing a little bit of the new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
it's real good.
Good.
One thing that I found out about it, because I was debating, like I am kind of with most games now. I know that you did this when I had you play Sea of Stars. You ended up getting it on Switch.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what do I want to get Mortal Kombat on? Because it's on Switch.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's on Switch. It cannot run. Like, they released it. It's not DLC only. It's not like a cloud title or something like that. And there are people online showing videos of like, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks fucking...
It looks wild.
It looks comical. Like, hair looks like...
Switch is how I bought the last Mortal Kombat before this Mortal Kombat.
So that was 11. Of course,
Yeah.
11 came before 1.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I remember because they had the teaser with the clock that was going to 12.
Yeah.
And then it just skips 12 and goes right to 1.
It's clever. But I will say, I know you're a big fan of the Mortal Kombat lore.
I am.
The story mode in this it's great. It's riveting. I mean, it's a lot of cutscenes, obviously, because it's just mixed up. There's no other mechanics to it than fighting, until at least that I've found.
Yeah, of course.
But I remember there was one of them, I forget which one, but it was one of them had like a story mode where you're like walking around
Yeah.
and like doing stuff.
Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You played as a brand new guy.
Yeah.
And you'd wander around.
Yeah, this is not that at all. It's just cutscenes with fights in between.
I do want them to branch out in the Mortal Kombat franchise to other styles of games.
I gotta say,
again,
I think they're doing this, if they keep it up like this, like the story's good, and obviously it's Mortal Kombat 1, it's a hard reset, but it's not even, it's an in-world reset.
Is Ronda Rousey Sonya Blade again?
I don't think so. I haven't
Thank
met Sonya
goodness.
in the story. But it's an in-world reset, so instead of just like, oh, we're starting the story over again, there's a story-based thing for why the story got set over again. It's because Liu Kang recreates the universe.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, that's a fun way to do a reboot where there's one character who's kind of like,
knows
yeah, I
what
know,
was happening
I know
before.
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think
11 ended really well. I enjoyed that.
that was the one with like the time goddess.
Chronica. Yes.
I remember playing some of that. I don't think I finished it. But
I finished it, and it was good because it was like, you're destined to do this over and over again because of Chronica, the evil witch woman that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Finally got around
it's
to talking about her.
person that's time. Yeah.
It's like they did that kind of in later episodes of Dragon Ball Z. It's like, oh, this is King Kai. And then it's like, oh, well, there's also a Supreme Kai.
Yeah.
And above him, there's another Kai. And it's like, oh, why haven't you mentioned this threat? And it's like, oh, well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because we kind of wrote ourselves into a corner with this long-running franchise.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
But they were like, this one, she wants Mortal Kombat to be stuck in its place.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like you kind of shoehorned her in pretty all right. And then then Liu Kang's like, I don't want this anymore because he's the best fighter ever.
Yeah.
So he kills the shit out of her. And he's like, all right, now what do I do?
Recreate the whole universe.
I'm just going to start over.
It's fun. Have you been playing anything else?
I've got the DLC for Cyberpunk to come up.
We're recording this on the 25th.
So it comes out tomorrow, the
Yeah.
26th. And so I'm just starting a new character and building up from there.
I gotta say, that game is one of those things where its launch was so, famously bad.
Yeah.
That I just never picked it up.
Yeah.
So, and you said they're reworking it?
I mean, they already reworked it. They changed.
Really?
So what people were upset about was the bugs in it. And
they were funny to watch on YouTube.
Exactly. I didn't give a shit. Other than I had game crashing bugs. Those suck. But bugs, I don't care. And the gameplay was fun. And the story was great. And now they just changed everything around where the perks are different, the stuff that you can do.
Is there a lot of in-game purchases in that? Like,
this is the first in-game purchase I've done. So was the DLC.
I mean, but is it one of those things where it's like a lot of in-game like extra content that you buy this and do whatever, or is it all pretty much inclusive if you get it?
It looks like it's its own story, like standalone. If it's going to be like Witcher 3, where they're like, hey, we can just give you a preset character that's at the level that you need to be so you can experience the story.
Yeah.
But it's a new district that you can go into. It's new cars, new weapons, and so
you think
a new story.
Is it a good time to jump into it? Could I probably jump in with just that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a first-person shooter, right?
When you're going to jump into it, you're going to want to...
Go back. Talk to Keanu Reeves with his silver hand.
You're probably not going to be able to go forward until you get Keanu Reeves, I don't think.
Huh.
But you get Keanu pretty early in the game.
I gotta say, I think, considering probably 20 years ago, I was probably playing first-person shooters more than anything else. I don't think I've played a real first-person shooter in a while.
This isn't a real first-person shooter.
Oh, really?
It's an RPG.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, there's first-person shooting in it, but you don't have to first-person shoot at all. You can first-person...
kind of Skyrim's first-person.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's more like Skyrim, but you can get a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's good gun mechanics, though, as well.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fun. Check it out.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, like, this will be my 4th playthrough.
Wow.
And...
How long does the playthrough usually take you?
Like, the first one took me maybe 60 hours.
Jesus.
And I was just doing everything. And then, like, 20 hours for every subsequent playthrough.
But good story, though.
Good story.
Yeah.
3 different ways to start up your character. And different endings depending on how you play through it. Really cool stuff. The thing is, you didn't like Witcher 3.
I did not like Witcher 3.
And these are the Witcher 3 people, so I don't know how you feel about it.
Honestly, it could have been because I played Witcher 3 after I had played other games that kind of took inspiration from it, so it was kind of hard to get. Like, a perfect example, the first Elder Scrolls game that I played was Skyrim.
Yeah.
I tried to go back and play, like, Oblivion, and it just didn't play as well.
Wow.
So I like never went back and played Oblivion because it was just kind of clunky and everything like that.
Man, Oblivion's great.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but it's just one of those things where if I'm not immediately engrossed in the game, I'm not,
Okay.
It takes me a while to get into something. It's rare. Like I'm kind of shocked that I'm enjoying Mortal Kombat as much as I am, but because I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not good at fighting games.
Well, good. Then we should play it after this.
This is just where it's at.
Yeah. Well, we should play it after this.
Yeah.
I don't have the character packs yet. With Peacemaker and Homelander.
Homelander's in there.
Yeah, and Omni-Man.
That's really weird.
You got to get what you can get.
Yeah.
Like people, I thought it.
I liked it when they had Freddy and Jason.
Yeah.
And
they had a Xenomorph in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
But I thought when I bought the game, I bought the hard copy, and it's like, oh, you get the pre-order bonus, and I thought it was all those characters. But no, those characters are like an extra $30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no.
Who are you?
Yeah.
You're
I'll
gonna
play
get
through
costumes.
the story. And the one thing I will say is I did, when it's a big download. I was actually kind of shocked. It's a 118 gig game for a fighting game. And it's all, you can tell, I will say this, the story so far is super engaging and also really just like the facial animations. You could tell since the fighting mechanics, I can't really judge it against anything else because I haven't really played many modern fighting games.
Yeah.
Except for, Smash Brothers is probably the one. It's
Yeah,
definitely the only franchise that I've played every iteration of it on.
Mm.
And the fighting mechanics seem like they're going great. Combos are nice. It has a couple little combo breakers and things that I'm sure the more you play, the better it gets, yada, 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 and you get better at them. But the cutscenes are fantastic. Some of the best facial animations I've seen in any game.
It looks too real.
Yeah.
I wish they went a little cartoony with it.
Yeah, I mean, the violence is cartoony.
Yeah,
because it's
that's why I was hoping that it would go cartoony with the everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great, and it's a good way to keep you engaged. Johnny Cage is still a dickhead.
My favorite character.
Is he really?
Always.
I don't know what they're doing with his voice in this.
I haven't seen much about what they're doing with him.
He kind of sounds like someone doing an Owen Wilson impression.
Wow.
Yeah, like that. That's kind of. I know he's supposed to be like cheesy and schmaltzy and everything like that, but I think he could have done more exaggerated in his character.
Yeah,
and
like what they did with him in Mortal Kombat 9, when they brought it back.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no frame of reference for that. You were just...
He said...
Before we started recording, but for the record, Jake was quoting...
fantastic line in Mortal Kombat 9 is call me crazy with a K. You know? Because it's combat. It's smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
I know so much about Mortal Kombat.
Why do you know so much about Mortal Kombat?
This one time, I went to a party, and then I spent all night talking to everybody about the lore of Mortal Kombat until everybody went to sleep while I was playing it.
Jesus.
Until 6 a.m.
Well, I mean, I always find a new rabbit hole for you, and it's just like, hey, Jake knows about this now.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Another thing that I just know so much about for some reason.
Well, speaking of things that Jake knows a lot about, let's get into my recommendation for him. If you have your own recommendations that you want to send in to us, you can do that at upyouralleypod@gmail.com. You could also be sure to follow us on Instagram at upyouralleypod. TikTok's the same thing. And Threads, sure. Threads is still hanging around.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, Threads is still hanging around.
Never touched it. They asked me to sign in with like...
with your Instagram?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know that. I don't know my Instagram.
Yeah, it was. I think that was kind of a flash in the pan because it was like the most downloads ever for its first like week.
Yeah.
But I mean, people are still calling X Twitter.
I'm still on
They're
Twitter.
saying like, oh, exactly. You're still saying you're on Twitter
because it's Twitter.
And I've never heard anyone say, "Well, did you read this on Threads? Did you see this on Threads?" No one said it.
Yeah, they changed the download info on X.
Yeah.
To say formerly Twitter because nobody knows what the hell X is because it's a stupid name.
It is a stupid name.
And they just and this is like, oh, this is what Twitter. This is the Twitter I was looking for.
Yeah, maybe people shouldn't have billions of dollars and just do stupid things that we all have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an idea.
That'd be nice.
Speaking of things we don't want to deal with, let's deal with my recommendation for you first. I figure we'll get this one out of the way because I feel, just knowing you for long enough, I feel you have some real thoughts about this.
On BS?
Yes. So this is the documentary film directed by Martin Desmonroe and Trayvon Free. It's called BS High. It's available to stream right now on Max. It's a nice little documentary. It's only like 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
Moves at a good clip, too.
Yeah.
So the whole story behind this, which I asked Jake about last week, if he knew about it, it's the film follows Bishop Sycamore High School. Roy Johnson, the former head coach, former colleagues John Branham and Andre Peterson, journalist Andrew King, and Bomani Jones, who's a very famous sports reporter.
Is that the dude, the black dude at the table?
Yeah. That's Bomani Jones.
He is so smart.
Yeah.
He has such great insight in every single thing.
Yeah, so Bomani Jones is one of those people. I don't think he's with ESPN anymore. But
anybody who he works for, they're lucky to have him.
He was a co-host. He did a show with Dan Lebitard, whatever. And he was on like Around the Horn. Yeah, that's kind of funny. He was on Around the Horn and a bunch of stuff like that. But he's just one of those people that's a sports journalist who really knows.
Yeah.
Like he can pull up. He's a wealth of information. Like he's one of the people that I'll actually.
It was amazing how just listening to him. I wish it focused on him so much more.
He's kind of like almost like a Neil deGrasse Tyson of sports. Where
That's
it's just
a really
even if you don't know what he's
he doesn't
talking
annoy
about,
the shit out of me.
Because I don't really follow. Obviously, I don't follow high school football. I don't really follow professional football that much.
Me neither.
I'm a fan, but he's one of those people that knows enough about something that he can get you interested in just by him talking. So side thing for Bomani Jones, unless he's another person that turns out to be terrible, which I hope he doesn't.
Let's watch
Bomani
that documentary.
yeah, that'll be
absolutely watch that one.
No, let's not wish that on Bomani Jones. So the whole premise behind this is I remember this after watching the documentary. Did you remember this or have like some kind of recollection of this when it happened?
No.
So this
isn't anything that's in my zeitgeist.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have worked its way through because it happened during it happened in 2021 was the big thing.
Sports is not something that I am really involved in.
Really? Because I remember this being kind of a big thing in meme culture too, which you are definitely involved in.
If it was something where if there's a thing you need to know about meme culture is you don't ask what's going on. You just say, you either say, I don't know what that is, or I'll look it up later, or I just don't care what that is.
Where you put the meme of Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec, where it's like, I don't know what this is, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
It's mostly that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll just go away.
So what happened for people listening, Bishop Sycamore was a private school started in Columbus, Ohio, and it was started by this guy, Roy Johnson, after he had a couple failed things. And he just wanted to start a football school. He wanted to have a school, which
coach.
It's a big thing
coach.
with private schools in this country. I don't know if they do it with any other sports around the world. And they don't really do it with many other sports. I guess they do it a little bit in
baseball.
Yeah, but baseball doesn't really have the NFL is the only televised draft.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
people know high school players, and I'm sure if you talk to someone like my dad will send me a text every now and again and be like, "Oh, this kid's a pitcher for the University of Tennessee, and he's really good." And I'm like, "Neat."
Yeah,
but it's not like in basketball, I know they passed a thing after LeBron James went to the NBA where it's like you have to do at least 1 year in college. But high school football is an entity in and of itself in this country. It's
ridiculous.
It's millions of dollars gets put into sports, and schools,
hundreds of millions.
There are schools around the country where it's just like a private school that only exists for football.
Yeah,
they make all their money on football. Bradenton, Florida. Yeah, that's my hometown. I went to not that school.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's just this weird culture that I never really knew about. But this guy, Roy Johnson, sets up a school, allegedly. And
it sounds like he legitimately tried to set up a school.
I feel like he didn't come into this with the best intentions. But before we delve into that, let's skip to the end. On the 29th of August in 2021, Bishop Sycamore was an unknown school. They talked their way into playing on ESPN against IMG Academy, which is the best school in the country.
Yeah.
And
best football school in the country.
Yeah, best football school in the country. Important stuff. Yeah, the best school. So they get demolished, and kind of in real time, since it wasn't 2021 and a lot of people were still in their houses, people were looking up and tweeting.
Yeah.
Xing, formerly known as tweeting. They were being like, this isn't a real school.
Yeah.
Like, people were kind of doing investigative journalism on the fly.
Horrible things were happening to those poor children.
But some of them weren't children. That's the thing.
Some of them were 22-year-old men.
Yes. Who were getting lined up by 17-year-olds.
16-year-olds.
So, and that's the whole thing. So this documentary is focused on Roy Johnson, who's the founder. And
is he a friend of the producers? Because it looks like they were chummy.
I think.
Oh, they're doing this.
Well, we can get into that. But okay, so first of all, did you find it just on a surface level of entertainment value, not including the content or anything like that? Did you find it entertaining to watch?
Yeah,
I think it's a
good watch,
great documentary.
Yes,
it's a story you didn't know about, and it's my favorite kind of documentary.
It rides the line for me,
really,
definitely, because it's extremely upsetting. It's very, very mean thing.
I watched another documentary that was extremely upsetting that I almost want to recommend to you for next week, but then I decided against it because I'm like, I made him watch Finn, and then I made him watch Bishop Sycamore.
You made me watch this.
I guess that's something with me that I just kind of hate watch documentaries. Where I'm
think
just
you
like,
really want me to be mad.
I feel like Tim Robinson sometimes just the world's so fucked up, but it makes for quality entertainment.
I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating story.
If this was a movie, it would be fascinating. It'd be like, so this guy, Roy Johnson.
This will be a movie. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. 100%. So this guy is.
I hope they wait till he's dead so he has no financial benefit of a movie being made for him.
If you're a public figure, they can make a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Without him? Well, he'll still spin it in a way that he'll get money out of it. I don't want him to be able to do that.
I'm trying to think of a comparable thing. Like the Wolf of Wall Street guy was in the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, but he's back to trying to scam people.
Well, that's what he does. He's a con artist.
Exactly. It would have been nice if they waited for him to die so that he couldn't try and benefit off of this.
Well, he never will because bad people don't. And also that movie made him look really cool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's fun super times cool. And Quaaludes and Margot Robbie. It's not the worst way to spend an evening. But so this, I love a good con man story. Mm-hmm. I think Wolf of Wall Street, like we talked about, another Leo thing, Catch Me If You Can.
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
I loved The Greatest Showman because P.T. Barnum was an old school con man, essentially. Like he didn't. They really made him look a lot better in that movie.
I didn't like that movie.
It was good. The music was great, and it's Hugh Jackman, which I love.
Hugh Jackman. I appreciate him. But,
yeah, sad news about him over the week too.
What?
He's getting separated from his wife of a long time.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they're royalty in Australia.
I had no idea.
It's a bummer.
I just saw him post pictures that he was on a forest walk.
Walkabout.
Yeah.
Call it.
And I was like, oh, he's doing well, but I guess not.
He's rocking and rolling. But, yeah, so this guy, I'm just going to say, I think Roy Johnson is a scary level sociopath.
I would say he's definitely a sociopath.
Yeah, so
I would say he came in with the best intentions, where he was like, "Oh, yeah, we could set it up and we'll actually have like a football."
I disagree with that. I don't think he had the best intentions.
I think he was like, "Yeah, I could do a job. I could be a coach," and then it kind of got ahead of himself, and he's too much of a sociopath. He's too much into himself.
Oh yeah,
that. I don't think he did it for the money or something like that. Like, this was a good con for him that way.
No money.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was just like, I'm going to make this work to make me look great.
Yeah.
And he just could not stop being such a fucking asshole the entire time.
I don't think it would be possible, like you're saying about in a movie. I don't think this would be believable as a movie.
It's something where the guy finds loopholes and exploits the shit out of them. And it's just the only people that it hurts are the kids.
Yes.
Every single choice that he makes.
Sometimes physically hurts them.
Oh, just saying that if nobody ate the macaroni in the morning one day, they'd reheat it and have it, for the next day.
So this is a huge...
That stuff is so upsetting for these kids that just wanted a shot.
Yeah. I mean, this is a scheme that I think the insanity of it is, like you said, with good intentions. That's why I disagree, because I don't think anyone with good intentions would
everybody
have taken
starts
it
with
as
good
far.
intentions.
So
yes, exactly.
If you haven't seen this documentary,
until he was evil when he ran over the goose. That's when shit got evil.
All right,
that's when I was
explain that, because that's not some colloquialism that Jake's pulling out. Like, he really ran over the goose
over this one.
No,
it was Pahookie. Was the kid's name that was riding with the coach. And the coach saw a gaggle of geese in the middle of the road, and he sped up and he ran into them.
Yes.
And he looked at the kid and he said, like, I'm teaching you a life lesson right now. Ugh. And then he backed up and hit the geese some more.
Right.
And they talked to him about it, the producers, and they asked him, do you remember running over geese? And he's like, no, I don't remember that. Oh, he's like, oh yeah, me and Pahookie, we ran over one goose. It was one goose. It was like, oh yeah, you're saving yourself. That's the thing. That's when I was like, oh, he's evil. Like, he'll do something horrid and think that he's doing something well.
Yes.
So I thought at the beginning, good intentions, and then I saw the evil, and I was like, anything this guy does is a bad thing. He shouldn't be allowed to make choices.
Mental illness.
Yes, absolutely.
And then also, he goes forward and he pays for everything. And the thing that just kind of stopped me in my tracks watching this was, first of all, the guys that did it, they said that he sat for interviews for 3 days and he did not get paid to be in this. He wanted to be in it because I think, not a good intentions, but I legitimately think that I got the vibe that he thought he could come out of this, be like, I'm just going to explain my story.
Yeah.
And people are going to get it. People think I'm a bad guy. And so after I get my story out, like, have you ever talked to somebody like that? And you're like, oh, you really believe your bullshit so much that it's almost terrifying.
And it's one of those he's one of those people that keeps getting himself backed up into a corner more and more and more, to the point where he's like, yeah, no matter what, I'm untouchable. Now I'm going to spin this thing around right now, and I'm going to be on top of the world again. The school isn't shut down. I'm going to do it all over again. And you'll see.
So when he plays, when they play IMG, they get crushed. No score. What was the final score of the game?
The children got hurt.
Yes, the children did get hurt.
That was what was upsetting.
So, and that's the other thing. They
didn't have a medical crew there.
They weren't good at football.
No.
So they didn't have a playbook, and it was one of those things you talk to the kids, and I really did feel for the kids in this, because they got set up. They were staying in hotels because the coach said, oh, well, they're not going to charge me for 30 days. So we'll just stay for 30 days, and then when they kick us out, they kick us out. And the kids didn't have a playbook because they didn't have structure, because they're kids. If you tell a kid, hey, you could just fuck off and hang out in a hotel all day, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. They think that this is what happens when you're a football player. Right. They don't think, oh, they wake up every day and they work hard. Right.
Yes.
They're just like, oh, he's a coach. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
I mean, and
I'm having my opportunity.
My freshman year, I had student athletes on my floor, and they played volleyball.
Yeah.
Like every freshman that was on the men's volleyball team was on my floor. And those guys worked out crazy hard. And they're playing, not to besmirch volleyball.
They're just pumping and setting and serving and spiking.
I'm saying for a student athlete like that, they're really going there so they can get a college degree for free.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people that make a living playing volleyball. I don't know many of them, especially not the court volleyball.
Yeah.
Beach volleyball, sure. But I'm saying there are a lot more people that go into playing collegiate volleyball thinking this is a good way to get a degree, other than thinking I'm going to make it in volleyball.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And those guys, I was saying that to say, like, those guys woke up and they were at the gym at 6 o'clock, and they had to keep their grades up, and they had to do that.
And also,
they would flat out say,
"You're not supposed to be in charge of the team.
No,
what the team is supposed to learn, or how they're supposed to work out, or what they're supposed to eat."
So the final score of the IMG game was 58-0.
Just horrifying.
And I don't know if you caught this, but they said the second half was being played with a running clock because they were just like, we need to end this game.
Yeah.
Like, football, they say, like, in an average football game, there's 15-minute quarters, so 60 minutes of game time, and there's something like 8 minutes of actual action in a football game. So they were playing it with a running clock because they're like, we need to end this, because even the announcers, and it's kind of sad watching or listening to the ESPN announcers, they're like, yeah, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Like the kids, there's a way that I didn't play football, obviously, but like there's a way when you're getting tackled where you know how to fall so you don't get hurt. You know how to kind of like brace yourself so you're not just standing there and getting, fucking just knocked down like a sack of potatoes. And the kids weren't doing it.
No.
And it was just someone's mom was the medical staff.
They didn't have a medical
kid
team.
Popped his shoulder at a socket.
Popped his shoulder out. And they said, you're fine.
Yeah.
That's
Get
horrible.
back in there. And it really broke these kids up.
That couldn't just ruin his career. That could ruin his life.
And it did. I mean, 2 of the kids, I think they said, are playing for Louisville now.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yes.
Like, and the fact that some people came out on the other side of this.
Some of the kids are still working really hard.
One of the guys a rapper, and he got his song on the end credits.
Yes.
Which is a nice little song.
Now, it was a fun little song. That was fun. But the Pahuki, that kid, is the one that I'm very inspired by, because he was like, I'm working with the youth now because I want to get them the fundamentals of what a good coach is and what football is.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so
what a way to take this horrible moment and be like, I can make this much better for everybody else.
I mean, obviously the quickest parallel for what we've talked about on the show before is when I had you watch the rise and fall of N 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of similar because it was people that were, promised that they were going to help, further their life, further their career, make a lot of money doing what they love, and kind of got the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah.
Obviously, in street ball, it's not the physical toll on you. Like, I'm sure it's really hard on your body to play basketball.
But it's the financial toll.
It's a financial toll, but it's not, the risk of serious physical injury.
I can understand what you mean.
And they said before they played IMG on a Sunday, and they had another game Friday. Which you just don't do.
That's an incredible oversight.
If you pitch in baseball, they give you you a week's rest if you're throwing baseball.
Yeah. If you're a coach, how do you? If you're not even a coach, if you're a football fan, I'm not even a football fan, and I know that you're taking a break for a while.
That's why they play on Sundays.
That's why when hockey does overnights, those are then
then
rough
they put
games. You could see it.
Then they put you in short shifts and everything like that, and they make sure guys get rest. And,
it's hockey's my only reference of sport. That's the one that I watch a lot. But you typically take a week.
I'm trying to find a sports thing to get you into. I've shown you golf. You didn't like.
I like them,
but
I'm not going to watch them as a thing.
So I'll find, and I made you watch Nolan Ryan, and then I made you watch basketball, and now I'm making you watch this.
Football.
So I haven't made you watch a hockey thing because I know that's a win.
I like hockey.
I'm going to find some cool tennis thing or something next. I don't know what I'm going to go.
We'll watch Wimbledon with
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom? What's the one with Kirsten Dunst?
That's Kirsten Dunst and Orlando Bloom.
Oh,
Wimbledon,
man, I thought it was Paul Bettany.
Was it?
I don't know.
It might be both of them.
If it's our boy Paul Bettany.
Our boy?
Yeah.
Since when is Paul Bettany our boy?
Paul Bettany's been our boy, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
What have we talked about on this podcast?
We have never talked about him on the podcast. We have brought him up multiple times just talking about movies.
Paul Bettany? Oh, it is Paul Bettany.
I knew it.
Yeah.
It's our boy.
And Kirsten Dunst. Paul Bettany is not our boy.
Paul Bettany is our boy.
We have a candle and a month dedicated to Ben Affleck. If anyone is our boy.
He's your boy.
Then why is Paul Bettany our boy?
Because both...
First of all, I want to say this. I want to be clear. Nothing against Paul Bettany.
There it is, because he's our boy.
I mean, you got me there.
There's been multiple times when we're talking about movies and we end up talking about a movie that Paul Bettany is in, and then we're both like, man, he is awesome.
I don't think we've ever talked about Paul Bettany on this.
Not on the podcast.
Oh, just in personal life.
In our lives.
All right. Well, to be fair, I don't pay attention to that.
I do, because I'm like, oh, yeah, we're having that Paul Bettany talk.
Well, okay. So maybe we'll talk about Wimbledon. I've not seen it. And
let's watch Wimbledon.
No. I have a great recommendation.
I remember that quote from the trailer, which is her going,
how do you remember?
I like you.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
So you came in here. I told you I was playing Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And you gave me 2 quotes from Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
Then you said you haven't seen this movie in 20 years.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok about you pulling out a quote.
Yeah, right?
From a Mystery Science Theater episode.
Yeah. But that one's, I've seen that episode like dozens of times.
Fair to say. How do you pull it out all these quotes?
I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with my brain.
Yeah, I think there might be.
I think there's like a learning disability.
Ah.
Yeah. I got this stuff cooped up in there for some reason.
Yeah. By the way, my cooped up brain where I just conflate things, I was thinking of the film Elizabethtown starring Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Yes. I conflated that in Wimbledon in my brain.
I can see why that happened.
We both got weird brains that work somehow.
I don't know how it happens.
So back to weird brains. The quote from Roy Johnson that kind of
sticks with you? Yeah.
Yeah. If we're talking quotes, he's looking dead into camera. And first of all, the way it's shot, like he sits down and like this guy is just like who should play him in a movie? It's Sterling K. Brown should play him in a movie because he's an actor. He's in a bunch of stuff, but he was in an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where he just gets interrogated the whole time, and it's just like this because the way it's shot, it's like dead ahead. Yeah. And he sits down. And he's like, "Should I keep my hands here?" He's like, "Because I've been looking at how to do things."
Yeah,
and he's just got that vibe where it's just like I shouldn't trust this guy.
Yeah, the whole time he's like, "How do I present myself so that I look trustworthy?
Do I look cool?"
Yeah,
but he says like the guy's interviewing or who the director is interviewing him, it's just like, well, would you lie about that? And he's like, no, not if I know that you can prove that I'm lying.
Yeah.
He's like, why would I lie about something if I know you can prove that I'm lying? And then the guy takes a beat and he's just like, so wait, you're okay with lying about something if no one can prove that you're lying? He's like, well, yeah. I'm just like, oh, that's the real confession of the crime right there.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're just laying it out, and he's like, "Yeah, no." And he makes the kids take out PPP loans in their name during the pandemic.
He's ruining their poor lives,
and then sits for 3 days to be interviewed for a documentary.
And those kids are like, "Yeah, my dad tells me he's like, did you take out any loans?" He's yelling at me. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
These kids, they can't get into college even if they get offers because
they didn't go to a real school.
You didn't go to a real high school.
That was the heartbreaking part.
That's the heartbreaking part.
The one kid who got into, I think it was Grambling he got into?
Yes, and he was so excited.
Is an HBCU.
They even caught it all on video. His excitement of getting it and everything.
Right, and then Grambling's like, oh yeah, you didn't go to a real school, so we can't let you.
we can't let you in.
Fucking heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking.
On a recommendation base, what do you get this from 1 to 3?
This one's a 3.
It's a 3?
Yes.
Even though you hated it.
I want everybody to watch this.
Really?
This is completely different because I want everybody's minds emblazoned with this man's...
With fuck this guy?
ID.
And I think...
So that when you see him and he's like, could I get a number 10? You go, oh, you're that asshole. Of course you can't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Except I think they said at the end he might be going to jail soon for like domestic stuff. That's another thing.
He already went to jail.
He's beating the crap out of his girlfriend the whole time too.
Yeah. In front of these kids.
And they save that towards the end where he's like, oh yeah, well I did that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why did you lead with that? But this made me think about, since I love grifters and shit like that so much, do you go to the YouTube channel for CoffeeZilla?
Yes. So, I'm starting to get annoyed with him.
Are you?
He's got that robot, butler character.
It's kind of hacky. But I will say, I think I'm just getting into it. He was on... First time I heard about him was when the Sam Bankman-Fried guy got busted.
Yeah.
Because he was on an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. I know you're familiar with
CoffeeZilla was?
Yeah. I know you love Joe Rogan and everything. So.
He's the second person I want a nice documentary about how much of an asshole he is to come out. I don't think
he's an asshole.
He's absolutely an asshole.
But anyway, so... CoffeeZilla was on there, and that's the first time I ever saw him.
Yeah.
And I started watching his videos, and he's great at just being the Robin Hood against grifters.
Yes.
Like, he calls people too, and I will say there was
when they're on the phone and he's talking to them, those are pretty fun.
There was some guy, I forget, it was some crypto rug pull scam, and this guy had like $1 million coin, and he's like, I put $1 million of my money into this, so every coin is backed by my $1 million that I put into it. Yeah. And CoffeeZilla just calls him and is like, hey, this isn't true.
Yeah.
And the scammers, I guess maybe it's a tech thing. Like if you're in cyberspace and everything, it's like, you know how they say that online culture has ruined people's social skills because you say things to people online you would never say to someone's face.
Yeah, yeah.
And people like Roy Johnson that's used to dealing with people face to face, when he gets put up against, hey, you're lying, he sits down and really stone faces it the whole time.
Yeah.
But CoffeeZilla calls, like, for lack of a better term, a bunch of dorks that are trying to do crypto schemes. And they're like, hey, you can't be doing this. Like, can you just, okay, I'm going to give people their money back. Just, can you and it's just this guy calling him and be like, hey, you're lying about crypto, which is all lies.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny that you could scheme people on things that are inherently a scheme to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why nothing's going to happen.
I love con man.
You know what I mean?
Con man shit and cult
con man shit.
That's right in my... so far up my alley.
The government, the law looks at it all the time, and they like shrug their shoulders and like, "There's
they're
nothing
wetting their beaks a little bit."
Exactly.
Jacob.
That's why I'm saying if everybody watches this, there should be posters all up every town.
Fuck this guy.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Because the law's not going to do anything. He ruined kids' lives.
That was the shocking thing at the end. He's like, what law did I break?
Yeah.
He's like, show me. Because there wasn't a thing. And that's one of the journalists. I forget what paper the guy wrote for, but one of the journalists that...
Yeah, the one that nobody wanted to listen to.
Yeah, he was being Chicken Little for a while, being like, hey, this is all fake. And no one wanted to talk to him. And there's like the Ohio High School Athletics Association or something like that.
Right.
I think I actually nailed that. Not something like that. I'm pretty sure that was fucking perfect. Like talking to them and being like, hey, you can't be in violation of this. And the guy's like, well, what did I violate? And then they show him, it's like, it's right here. It says right here that you have to, have this many days off and blah, blah. He's like, well, yeah, but, that doesn't count because the thing is he didn't have a real school.
Yeah.
So he can't be in violation of
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like keeping your pet. It's if there's a thing that says you have to keep your dog on a leash, but you don't have a dog. And they're like, well, he's technically not breaking any rules then. Like, that was kind of like the analogy he put forward.
It's a cat.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
It's horrible.
I love it.
That's horrible.
It's horrible, but this is...
when you ruin children's lives, that's when I get very, very, very mad.
And like you mentioned earlier, some of them weren't children.
Yeah.
Some of them were in their 20s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was also wild in its own right.
Yeah.
Because when you square up a 16-year-old with a 22...
Yes.
One way, that 22-year-old is going to murder that 16-year-old.
Unless that 16-year-old's been...
the other way around.
Yes.
And that 16-year-old destroys the 22-year-old. And then that 22-year-old, he's
if that 22-year-old hasn't been practicing and just been fucking off and doesn't know plays...
Eating spaghetti every day.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. All right.
Those poor guys.
So it's a 3. Jake thinks everyone should watch BS High.
Yeah.
Available right now on Max. So let's get into Jake's recommendation for me, which is the 2001 animated classic by Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Spirited Away.
Yes,
Jacob,
sir.
why'd you pick this one for me? Because I've been pushing sports, you've been pushing anime.
I've been pushing Japanese stuff on you, buddy.
So you've done Fooly Cooly and Food Wars.
Yes, sir.
And
I've done
Zatoichi.
I've done mint jams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get you into some type of Japanese stuff.
And I'm trying to get you into starting a scheme with me.
I'll absolutely do a scheme.
What do you think this is?
I'm not against a scheme, but...
I told you, I'm trying to get advertisers in here so we can scam them.
But
technically, it's not a lie.
I'm going to make you watch more Japanese stuff, because the Japanese stuff is a lot of stuff that I watch.
I understand that. So,
Spirited Away is... We haven't had you watch a Studio Ghibli movie.
No.
And
Let me
this
pull up
is
what movies there are, because I know
probably the most academically acclaimed one of them all.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, why not start with the, consensus as one of the best ones.
So Studio Ghibli is kind of known, and I'm not speaking out of turn here, as like the gold standard for anime motion pictures.
If it's a Studio Ghibli film, you're probably going to watch it. You're probably going to love it.
Miyazaki's kind of regarded as like one of the great directors of anime, the way like people
just
talk
animation,
about
period.
Spielberg, your Tarantino's, your Martin Scorsese's, like he's up there. It's like you can see, his stuff when you see it.
Yes.
Like it has kind of the same vibe and everything like that.
Cinema, good guy. Perfect.
So let me
Nailed
run
it.
through the Studio Ghibli movies real quick. I see which ones I think I've seen.
All right.
Because I will say this. I think I said it last week. I thought I had seen this.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that's kind of just permeated pop culture so much.
Yes.
That I knew of its existence. Like someone who hasn't seen Star Wars can probably tell you kind of what Star Wars is about. It's like, oh yeah, there's a guy,
right?
The
Darth Vader.
It's his dad, right? And there's a Chewbacca or whatever. So and they get it.
I was sick from school one day, and like we had the pull-out bed set up so that I can lay down and watch TV while I was feeling like shit. And Princess Mononoke came on.
Another one.
And I watched that, and it was incredible. I loved it.
Huh.
And I knew about Studio Ghibli then. I just haven't seen anything of theirs. So from Princess Mononoke, I was like, okay, well, Spirited Away is the one that I see commercials for and I hear about a lot.
Right.
That should be the next one I watch. And it was. And I was like, oh, I get it. They're fantastic films. They're upper echelon storytelling. And now I want to watch them all. And I've seen so many of them, and a lot of them are incredible.
So this came out in 2001, and actually the year before this came out was the first year, just doing my little research, it was the first year that they did a separate Academy Award for animated motion picture.
Yeah.
Before then, they give special achievement awards to motion pictures, animated films. They gave one of the first ones to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because that was like the first fully animated feature. And then they gave a special award to Toy Story when it came out in 1994.
I remember that,
yeah, because Toy Story was the first completely CGI thing. Prior to that, only one... Not saying the Oscars are the bellwether for whether or not a movie's good. We've talked about it plenty of times on the show that, you know...
Oh, I'll say it.
You'll say it?
No, absolutely not. No, fuck them.
Oh, I'm taking a stand right now. So, the year before this, 2001... there were only 3 of them nominated. This year, when Spirited Away won it, it went up against Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and Treasure Planet.
Huh.
I will say this is a better movie than those movies.
Yeah.
I think the one that comes closer to me, just because I have a sweet spot for it, is Lilo and Stitch.
That movie's probably the second.
But it's definitely a kid's... This is a kid's movie.
Both of them are kids' movies.
Well, and I'm saying, as far as the anime that you've recommended this, like Fooly Cooley's not for kids.
No.
Food Wars is not for kids.
No.
Zatoichi, I don't think that's for anybody. And
that's for everybody.
Mint Champs just fucking rules. Oh, did I tell you there was a Zatoichi reference in Star Wars?
Of course there is.
I got it because of you.
Where was it? What?
Ahsoka, in the new Ahsoka, because I know you've been keeping up with Ahsoka. But she's training Sabine.
I'll tell you this.
On
starting my new job. I'm at my site now that
Yeah.
I'm at, and I'm meeting everybody, and we're talking about stuff that we like and things.
Yeah, that's
And
what we do.
One of the guys says, like, so how do you feel about Star Wars? And I said, oh, I'm over it.
I'm done with
I
Star
said,
Wars.
oh, I am so over it, buddy. They're
Did he
all just
immediately
laughing.
come back with, did you watch Andor?
No, I was like, Andor is the only thing that apparently I'm supposed to watch, but anything else I am not interested in.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
But
I didn't really put my best foot forward, but I don't want people
And then
to come to
you're
me
shunned
being
by
like,
everybody.
have you seen the new Ashoka episode?
You don't want him showing up Wednesday.
I was like, oh, we're going to nip this in the
about
bud right now.
Yo, shut up about your fucking Star Wars.
Go ahead. Where did they say Zatoichi?
Ahsoka's training Sabine in lightsaber stuff, and it's like, oh, this form is Zatoshi, and I was just like,
Zatoshi?
yeah, because it's like there's like 2 kinds of Jedi. Like Ahsoka does like samurai style sword fighting, and then she's fighting this other guy that does like medieval knight style sword fighting. So it's just like kind of thing. But the samurai style is Zatoshi, and Dave Filoni, the guy that created it, was just like, yeah, like the blind swordsman. I was like, I Captain America meme. I understood that reference. But regardless, so yeah, I will say, out of the anime that you've had me watch, out of all the Japanese things you've had me watch, this is probably my second favorite.
Wow.
My first favorite probably being Cassiopeia.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I dig Cassiopeia a lot.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, I really enjoy this. Obviously, it's Best Picture winner. It's gotten all the acclaim.
It's so beautiful.
The story...
And every single aspect of what beauty can be called.
Are you just reading the back of the Blu-ray right now?
No, I'm just trying to get her name again. Chihiro.
Yes.
She is such a good girl.
So, yeah, the whole premise of it, and I want to get into this, too, because of some trivia that I read about this, and the way Hayao Miyazaki makes his movies. The premise of it is this little girl, Chihiro, she's moving with her mom and dad, driving an Audi. Weird product placement, and I don't know if there was product placement in animated movies back then.
I don't know.
But it's like a big close-up. They're driving and because they're moving. And she left her school and she's sad because, she left all of her friends. And they're driving an Audi and they go off-road. And Dad's like, don't worry, I've got four-wheel drive. And I'm like, is that an ad for Audi like they do now, like how Tony Stark drives Audis and shit like that?
Miyazaki was driving to work one day in his new Audi. Because it's like, man, is this a great car?
It's a German car, too. It's like you think they would have...
just bought the car, while they were working on this movie. And he was driving it around. He was like, this is the best car I've ever driven.
And that was the inspiration for this movie. He's like, what kind of hijinks could I get into in my four-wheel drive Audi?
That's what he did. He just drove off the road. Everyone was honking at him. He's like, I'm learning.
Excuse me.
I'm Miyazaki.
I'm generating wonder here in my off-road excursions.
Are those pigs?
So they find a bathhouse, and mom and dad start eating some food that they find, and they turn into pigs. She runs into a boy, Haruko. And so this place is inhabited by spirits. It draws heavily from Shinto belief, and that everything has a spirit, which is one part of Japanese culture that I find crazy fascinating. So Haku's one of the boys that comes there.
They have the best ghosts.
Everything has a spirit.
Are so much cooler than our ghosts.
I think our ghosts don't want to hear you say that.
Our ghosts are horrible. They're dumb. You die, you end up naked or in Victorian clothes that you've never worn before in your life.
Yeah.
And
or cool like old westerny stuff.
In Japanese culture,
old West ghosts.
You go to the toilet and there's a hand that pops out and it's like, do you want red toilet paper or blue toilet paper? And do you know what you answer?
Neither.
Either one, you die. Yeah.
Oh.
Either one, you die.
I thought it was a red pill, blue pill situation.
No. You choose either one. One of them, they like rip your guts out. The other one, they suffocate you. Something like that.
It's a terrifying culture.
There's another ghost that's humongous that wanders halls.
Is this from Miyazaki or is this like
Japanese lore?
Yeah, because a lot of them have like weird things where it's like, oh, this is the ghost of the woman who died in a well, and she climbs out of wells and she'll murder you.
Yeah, there's a woman that has her face all scarred up, cut up from scissors, and she's going to ask you if she's beautiful. And what do you say?
Either way, she kills me?
Either way, she kills you. You say yes. You say yes. She's like, oh, then I'll make you as beautiful as me. And then she starts cutting your face up.
So every ghost is an episode of The Twilight Zone?
Almost. There's one, my favorite ghost.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't remember his name. But when you're walking the streets at night and you hear footsteps behind you, but you look back, there's nothing there, and that's a ghost. You know how you get rid of it? You step to the side and you say, after you.
What?
And then you start walking and
so that one doesn't kill you?
No. There's a lot of them that are just ambivalent. But
so regardless, there's a...
I went off on a tangent.
I thought you were lying. Beto-Beto-san.
Yeah.
Japanese yokai following people walking at night.
Yeah. I don't make this shit up.
How could you?
Yeah.
But, so she starts working at this bathhouse, which is run by a witch.
Ubaba.
And a bunch of crazy, like, frog-ish looking men.
Yeah.
And it's a place for spirits to go, and they just, get a bath, get to eat. It's like it's like a spa for ghosts. And it just kind of happens. There's a no-face monster that comes in, and he starts eating it.
Yeah.
And he starts eating people, and she kind of befriends him, and Haku is a dragon.
Yeah. Haku is a really cool dragon.
I mean, I don't think, like, I'll say this. Story-wise, it's not riveting. You're not on your edge of your seat for any of this. She's trying to get the witch to turn her parents back into her parents.
But now you have to learn a lot about Ubaba.
Right.
You learn a lot about the ghost no face.
Uh-huh.
And I love how the girl handles all this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great story, but it's not, gripping.
I understand.
But as an experience, I will say this: it's gonna be a 3 for me.
That's right.
It's the first anime 3 I think I've given you.
Yes, I think so.
Cassiopeia is not anime, but I gave Cassiopeia a 3.
Yeah.
So but as an experience of just watching it, because the story aside, because it's a cute, it's for children.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I hate is people that be like, well, the plot line of this children's movie wasn't very good. It's like, well, it's not for you. It's a story for children. So you have to look at it through the lens of the filmmaking that went into it, and it's just the animation is gorgeous. Every single scene is just, none of it has the shitty anime trope where it's like you can tell it's one background and then like stock animations that they redo over and over again.
They just have a cell of the mouth that they move back and forth.
Exactly. So this is just you can tell it's great.
Just frame by frame, it's like another painting.
It's one of the best looking movies I've ever seen.
And this is from 2001.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something about classic animation it's kind of timeless.
Yeah. It never ages.
And the only thing that changes is the frame rate and like movements and everything like that. But as far as like the classic look of it, the colors still pop. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of
amazing landscapes that they go to. I love when they're on the train that is like right at level with the water. I think that's beautiful the whole time.
The spirit stuff, like No Face, he's like parts of him are opaque, but then he gets kind of translucent at times, and all the spirits are like kind of weird amorphous, floating sheets, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But in the character design for the witch, for Haku, and Haku also turns into a dragon dog.
Yeah.
Which is fun because it turns out he's the spirit of a river.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like she frees him and then he frees her parents. And it's a little fairy tale. Yeah. It's great.
She has respect for nature and respect for the spirits.
Yeah.
And they give her respect right back.
Exactly.
Ubaba comes in as an evil witch. She's like, oh yeah, you're going to be working for me. And then at the end, Chihiro she's even being like, I love you, Ubaba.
Yeah, he calls her Granny. I liked Ubaba's twin sister.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, her? She sucks. It's like, no, I'm nice. And then it's like, oh, little mouse, you're threatening. And she's like, oh, No Face, you want to come live with me? And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stay here with you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about this movie.
There's no real...
Is that the ending is just so sweet.
Yes. And she goes back with her parents and everything's good.
Parents don't even know what happened.
I thought it was going to be an Orpheus situation because like when she's leaving the bathhouse, Haku's like, don't look back. And then she like kind of pauses for a minute and I'm like, fucking don't. Like, don't Orpheus this shit.
Orpheus?
Yeah, from the Greek myth where you gotta walk out of Hades and... Am I right about that?
I was thinking of Lot and his wife.
Oh, Lot's wife,
away.
yeah. Oh, that's it too.
And
who stole it from who? The Greeks or the Bible?
The Bible?
No, Orpheus and Eurydice. She couldn't, like...
Wow, this is the same story, huh?
Yeah.
You just can't look back.
One of them, you're turning around to see the destruction of a city that God hath wrought. And one of them, it's just like, oh, well, that's the thing. You got to look out, but you can't look back to see Eurydice. And then Orpheus turned back around. Yeah. And then he turned into the guy from The Cure in the Hades video game. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that was the whole thing of that. And I thought it was going to be an Orpheus/Lot situation. But she didn't.
Nope.
And I did like, there was one little thing that I had notes, and I was just like, I'm going to write that down because it's nice. She wears a little hair thing that was made of the fiber that her friends made together.
Yeah.
And then right when she's about to pause, and I'm like, don't look back, don't look back. The little hair thing like glistens a little bit, and she's like, nope. She kept walking, and I was like, fucking A, like this is such a cute.
Absolutely. You leave going like, oh man, that was glorious.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people get bogged down, and this kind of happens with the Marvel stuff too, where people are like. Guys our age, unfortunately, are just like, well, this wasn't good for me. And it's like, well, it's not for you. It's for kids.
I mean, like, my thing is, like, I can get it if this story doesn't work for you.
Right.
Like, I can get it if this Marvel story... Like, there's things that Marvel does with the characters. Like, Man of Steel would be my example for you.
Okay.
People like that movie.
Yes.
You know? I do not like it at all.
Yes.
You know?
Well, you like your sweet anime Superman.
I need my Superman.
Have you kept up with that? The My Adventures with Superman?
No.
God.
I'm kind of scared.
It's done. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's worth it to finish.
Okay. I'll finish it. But, I'm not going to say that those people are wrong to like it, but I think it's also ridiculous to be in people's faces and being like, it's actually a good movie. It's like, just calm down.
Yeah. But I will say, you know, the story aside, just as making of a film, this is gorgeous. It's one of the best things I've ever watched. And like I said, I hadn't seen this. One thing I wanted to bring up was interesting. I always read the IMDb trivia. Mm-hmm. Apparently I'll just read this verbatim, which is interesting. Although it has rich plot and developed characters, Spirited Away was not made with a script. Hayao Miyazaki's films never have scripts during their production. He said, I have the story finished and ready when we start to work on the film, which is bananas for an animated thing.
I don't know what that means.
The filmmaker told Midnight Eye, I usually don't have the time, so the story develops when I start drawing storyboards. The production starts soon while the storyboards are still being developed. Miyazaki does not know where the plot is going and lets it happen organically. He says, quote, "It's not me who makes the film makes itself, and I have no choice but to follow."
I remember that quote, actually.
Which I read that halfway through the movie, halfway through watching it, and I was like, oh, I get it. Like, if he's just like, what happens? It's like, oh, that piece of paper, that's her twin sister. And then her twin sister it turns out she's fine. She's nice. And what happens to No Face? Oh, he just, he stays with her.
Yeah.
It's fine. We don't need to wrap that up. He's just going to stay there. And I thought, I didn't watch this. Obviously, I didn't watch it subtitled.
Yeah.
I think the English voice acting was great.
That's the other reason why I wanted you to watch this, is because they do have good caliber voice actors.
Well, the actress who played Chihiro is Davi Chase. She was the little sister in Donnie Darko, and she was also the well girl from The Ring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's actually a really good actress. And then I noticed John Ratzenberger's in it, but I think he had something to do with this coming over to America. And John Ratzenberger does a lot of the Pixar stuff and everything like that. He's just a well-known voice.
Yeah.
A couple of the other voice actors I picked up on.
They call John Ratzenberger Pixar's good luck charm.
Yeah. Susan Egan, like a lot of them are Broadway and voice actors that have been around.
Yes.
Who played Lynn.
Good voices.
Yeah.
Not just big names. Good voices.
Right. Well, Susan Egan is a Broadway actress. That's kind of what they did a lot for animated stuff before. It's been like, hey, let's make Chris Pratt be everything.
Yeah.
The voice of Yubaba is Suzanne Plachette, who's the star of The Birds with Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh.
Just great
I
voice.
loved her.
It's kind of like Eartha Kitt did the voice of Yzma in Emperor's New Groove. It's kind of that same, like,
a little bit, yeah. That cool, like,
lady
smoky,
voice.
raspy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the voice of the baby was Tara Strong.
Tara Strong.
Tara Strong. She does the voice of every baby. She Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans, Proud Family, Fairly Odd Parents.
She was Starfire.
She was Princess Unikitty in
Lego Movie.
the Lego Movie, and in the little series. And she did My Little Pony. She was Pinkie Pie. You're familiar with Pinkie Pie?
I've not seen it.
Pinkie Pie is a party pony.
Pinkie Pie is a party pony.
Pinkie Pie is a party pony. But she's just one of those voice actors where as soon as I hear it, I'm just like, oh, I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in everything. But yeah, I think it was. She also does Harley Quinn in the Batman Arkham games.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, voice acting strong. Is 100% a 3 from me. Like, it's great.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm glad you made me sit down and watch it, because I would have gone my whole life thinking I had seen this movie.
Yeah.
And not having seen
Now
this movie.
you gotta watch any Studio Ghibli movie that you can.
I know I've seen Nausicaa, something of the Wind.
Nazca and the Valley of the Wind.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke is up there as well.
I don't think I've seen that. I think I've seen Poyo.
Is more adult.
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. Ponyo is so damn cute.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. Howl's Moving Castle is amazing.
Yeah.
Porco Rosso has Michael Keaton.
Love Michael Keaton.
Yes, I
you know
think
what
you
else
would
has
really
Michael
love that
Keaton
one.
in it? The Flash.
That fucking
The
bad
Flash?
movie.
The Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that about Birdman. Birdman was a good movie.
Birdman was so good.
Are you saying Multiplicity was a bad movie? Because that
Multiplicity was a great movie.
Oh, so
you want another quote from that one?
If you don't pull out a quote for Multiplicity right now.
He's the first one is coming back to give good news to the other 3 clones, and the dumb clone's got his head stuck in the banister, and he's going, "Oh, hey, Doug, I'm just spitting on flies." He calls him Steve.
You have a weird,
not Doug.
You have a weird thing.
I know. I got a weird thing.
No.
She touched my Peppy, Steve.
Yeah, that's
the other one.
It's available to.
She has sex with all the clones in one day.
We know the plot of Multiplicity.
And he goes, "She touched my Peppy, Steve."
Jesus Christ.
That's another thing. This is something that I quote with my friends all the time.
Multiplicity?
Yes. I don't know why. For some reason, that movie stuck with all of us.
No one knows why. It's available to watch on Max, just like BSI is. I think everyone should watch these. I also think everyone should tell a friend about the show. If they enjoyed listening to it, they should leave a 5-star review, and you can send us an email, like I said, with your recommendations to upyouralleypod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. Not Twitter. On Instagram and... See, I fucked up at the end this time. I fucked up at the
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Up Your Alley.
You know what's funny? I know you don't have an iPhone, but
No.
they just had an update. and there's something that you can do with your own personal voice. So people that have problems speaking, you record 150 different phrases, and then it generates an AI version of your voice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Type anything into this, and then press... Well, let me turn up the volume all the way. And then it does AI Taylor voice. I typed in the intro to try to make it do the intro for me because I was worried about screwing it up again.
I don't understand. So I just hit send?
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too much poop in this diaper.
It's AI Taylor.
That is scary.
Isn't it cool?
I didn't like that.
Why'd you type there's too much poop in this diaper?
Because that's what happens.
All right. Well, you're not wrong.
I heard you say that way too many times. I knew
that wasn't even the personal voice from the iPhone. That was just a recording of Jake had from all the times I've said, "Oh, there's too much poop in this diaper." I'm glad we sorted that out. But yeah, so let's get into what we're going to be getting into next week. Jake, what do you got for me?
All right, let's watch another movie. This time we're going even further back. Do you remember Elliot Gould?
I do remember Elliot Gould.
Yeah, the fun father from Friends.
Yeah.
He's actually super awesome in this movie called The Long Goodbye.
Wasn't he in Just Shoot Me as well?
I don't know. I don't remember what that is. But this is a movie from 1973. It is a noir. Detective noir.
Oh, it's George Siegel. Not in Just Shoot Me.
Uh-huh.
Detective noir.
Yes. With a very famous detective character in novels, apparently. I didn't know that. I watched this movie on a whim once on Netflix back when it was awesome. And it stuck with me. I bought it, and I think it's fantastic. Elliot Gould is so cool.
I wouldn't think of him as a cool guy. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you watch this, and you're like, holy. Like, a lot of what happens is because he just wanted to go get his stubborn cat, cat food.
I didn't think that's where you were going to take that phrase.
Yeah, right?
So what'd you say it was 1970 something?
1973.
1973. All right, and I got the Blu-ray. Do you know if it's available to stream anywhere?
It used to be on Netflix, but not anymore.
Let me check justwatch.com.
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think you're getting physical media, buddy.
I mean, I'll take it. It just makes it hard for, engagement.
Yeah, I know.
With the people in the audience we're trying to build.
I know.
But
that's their fault. They should have bought this already.
It's working. Apple TV.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can rent it from Apple TV.
Wow.
Stream with free trial. Oh, so maybe... Oh, they remade this.
Ew.
There's a Long Goodbye in 2020, apparently. Doesn't look good. All right, so I'm going to watch this. Jake, I have a movie for you as well.
Sweet.
I legit thought this might come in as your recommendation for me. So I watched this based on the trailer, and I thought I was going to power through it because I wasn't going to like it. Because I'll tell you this, it is a scary movie.
Okay.
It is a legit horror movie. It was released just a couple, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Available on Hulu. Mm-hmm. And I am saying this unironically as well. It's in my top 5 favorite movies of the year.
Wow.
And it is called No One Will Save You.
Yes, I've been seeing little bumps and blurbs about this on the internet.
This. Stay with bumps and blurbs.
I don't want to
know as little about it going into it as you can.
What I saw was a page of the script and how the scriptwriter wrote it, and it looks like a page from House of Leaves. It's just like, you can't save her, you can't save her, you can't save her. She moves towards this thing, you can't save her, you can't save her.
Right.
It's like, wow.
So it's the actress who's in it, Caitlin Dever. She was in Booksmart. She's been in a bunch of other things, but she's the main character in this. And it's just like a home invasion thing. And I will say, like, I thought I wasn't going to like this movie. Loved this movie.
Well, rock and roll.
And it's a horror movie. So that's we're going to watch The Long Goodbye, which you can watch on Jake's Blu-ray if you want to come over and watch it with me. Yeah. Or you can see it on Apple TV. Jake's going to watch No One Will Save You, available to watch on Hulu. Thank you all for listening. Jake, thanks for coming over. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.